Yesterday, I was caught off guard in a conversation about lady pants. I've never heard it called lady pants. That's nice. Oh boy. I attend a Latin Mass parish, but our pastor approves of modest pants, and vast majority of women wear them outside the church. In the conversation, it seemed a lot of my peers resent women who wear only skirts and claim there is no official Catholic teaching against lady pants. Well, there isn't an official teaching about lady pants. But the thing is, that book written by Colleen Hammond, she makes some really good points in there, Dressing with Dignity. She was a feminist, and she loved wearing lady pants. She would wear the jeans and stuff like that. And I guess she was an attractive lady. She worked at, what was it? She was a news, she was one of the news ladies. She was a weather news lady. And she used to love wearing the pants. Then she read a study about how they used cameras they were doing a study on men, where men's eyes go when a woman walks by wearing pants versus wearing like a skirt or a dress or something like that. And when a woman walks by wearing pants, a man's eyes go immediately to her backside or her midsection. That's just what happens. It happens for a couple of different reasons. It's because men are scum of the earth. Well, that's what the culture would say. Men are scum. Men are scum. No. Men are made a certain way, and concupiscence has them react a certain way. And when a woman walks by wearing something she shouldn't be wearing, men look there, right? The thing is, a woman's body is more sacred than a man's body in the sense of it brings forth life, right? Because of that, if we look at the dignity of our body, women, and even in the Old Testament, a woman that dresses like a man is to be stoned to death, right? This is in the Old Testament. It was in the Levitical law. And that's because it brings confusion. And if you say, well, what confusion? I don't know. I mean, they're saying that 4-year-olds can say if they're a boy that they're a girl. And I mean, this is the culture we're in today. Why? It started with feminism, and feminism pushed for the pants. It pushed for the pants in a really hard way. Is it intrinsically evil for a woman to want to have warm legs and not have to worry about the difficulty of a skirt? No, it's not intrinsically evil for a woman to do that. But a lot of times the thing is that the skirt covers a section of a woman's body as a charity for other men and a guard against her own dignity. She doesn't need everybody looking at her backside. When I was in I forget the name of the valley. It's on my pilgrimage. It's a long valley. It took about a week to walk through. And the Mexicans, they bring them in on buses, and they let them stay in the United States for about during a certain season. And they just work out in the fields, just harvesting stuff all day long. But there's men and women working side by side, and the Mexican women are usually wearing jeans. But they always wore something that covered their backside, because they're constantly bending over all day, and men are just going to be staring at their backsides. They did it probably not just so men wouldn't stare at their backsides because it offended them. They're probably doing it as a charity against for their neighbor. This is what feminism does to women. And at the Latin Mass communities, the women are just as affected by feminism as anywhere else, because it's in our culture. We're products of our own culture. They're thinking about wearing pants from their own perspective, not from anybody else's perspective. But I deserve, I should be able to, I don't see anything wrong with, when in the end, men are falling into mortal sin because you've got skin-tight jeans on and people are looking at your backside. Even the ones that don't want to look at your backside are looking at your backside because it's odd that your whole backside is completely defined by a pair of jeans packed in there and right in somebody's face. And I say that because in the Novus Ordo Mass, often when you kneel down there at church, you got pictures of these guys there trying to pray. He's with his wife and his children, and there's a lady's backside right there in his face, and he's trying to, it just isn't right. It's not right. A woman's body is different than a man's body. And her body is made to attract. God made it that way. And there's nothing more beautiful on earth than a woman. Because God made, the last thing God ever made was a woman. And he made her the most perfect and beautiful. And men are made to look at that. So if women don't cover themselves properly, men are looking. And it's not their fault. It's not always their fault. And what it is becoming a torment for these young men, because they've been given all these little gadgets and stuff like that. They have the pornography and whatever else. And then when they finally get the courage to break with all that, now they're dealing with women bouncing down the street dressed like superheroes, or wearing skin-tight jeans and pretending they're supermodels, and all the other and they're beautiful young ladies. What are these guys supposed to do? So the argument, it's more of an argument of charity. It's also an argument of understanding the dignity of a woman. These women don't understand their own dignity. They're only thinking about themselves. So is it intrinsically wrong that a woman wears pants? Well, the kind of pants, yoga pants for a woman, some of these ladies, it's actually called nudity. And it was Pius XI. He had that's when the bicyclists in Italy, they like to ride the bicycles wearing spandex. We do it here now a lot too, but you had all the bicyclists. They came and had a bicycle meeting with the general audience, all the bicyclers. They came and had a general audience with the Pope, and he referred to their way of dress. This was back in the 20s, because they would wear the tight clothing then, riding their bicycles around. He said it was nudism. It was nudism. Now what is it? With the women walking around in all their tight clothing. Now, is it wrong to wear yoga pants? Now, you can wear the tight yoga pants, because wearing a dress, your legs might get cold. But there's nothing wrong with wearing yoga pants, especially if they're not see-through. The stuff where they have the seductive things going down the side now, it's absolutely absurd, the things you see out there. But if you've got a pair of really thick, because we know that stuff keeps you warm, it's thick. That thick, what's it called? Spandex. It's not spandex anymore, but the yoga pants. If you got yoga pants on underneath a dress, you're going to be warm. It's going to be modest, and you're going to give a good example. Your body's going to be covered. It's the same thing with a priest. You know it's weird when you see a priest, because when priests get older, they don't have a lot of time. They're busy. And they dress in clerical clothing, and they're just coming out of the whole thing because they got the belly, the pants don't stay up anymore, they're constantly jacking. Just like women when they get out of the car with jeans on, they've got to kind of do this like wiggle thing to get their pants back up. The same thing happens with men when they get a bit bigger. Well, the cassock covers all that, doesn't it? And it covers the dignity of the priest. You kind of expect that, or at least we hope to have it. Why does a priest have to do that? Huh? Well, we don't know. I mean, because it covers dignity. It has to do with dignity. So that would be, for me, that's the best argument to go about, is to look at the dignity of a woman. Take it from the perspective of God, how He created her. It isn't pointing fingers and saying, women have to dress this way because men said so, or why do men get to have the easy way out and wearing pants? It has to do with dignity of body. It has to do, men aren't really that attractive, and so very few people like looking at men's backsides. There might be some men that maybe have a nice backside that a woman thinks so, and so maybe he needs to probably realize he has a nice backside and not, wear the kind of pants he wears. But that usually isn't the case. Women have a different kind of backside because of the way their body is made and whatever else. But we know it's helpful to men if their bodies are covered in that way. I hope that helps. Oh, your question continues. My question is how to charitably dialogue with women about wearing modest skirts and dresses. If I'm questioned about it, how would I continue to encourage my daughter to wear feminine attire when all her Catholic friends wear jeans? It is difficult with the young girls because women are made to be helpers. That's going to offend somebody, but that's what God did, and that's what the moral books say. That's what the theology behind it is. He created Eve to be a helper. So there's a more of a docility, or there should be more of a docility in a woman than there is in a man. Men are made to be leaders, even if they don't do it. They're made to be leaders. Women are made to follow, even if they want to be leaders, because that's from concupiscence. So women tend to follow each other. So it's harder with the younger girls. So what I would say is, you do have to hold a firm line with your children because there's an authority that they need to obey, and they need to obey it for the love of God. But you have to keep that authority. The other is there's the following thing. There's the discipline and the authority that your children need to. But then the other way to approach it is really to try to keep it in a way where they can see, like what I was just speaking about, that charity. You need to foster that charity in them where they're not the center of their own universe. And then when they're living differently than their friends, which is going to be hard for them to do because, like I said, women want to do what the other women are doing. When that becomes the case, you've got to build their character and that virtue in them. Help them to build that virtue in them so they understand it. Now, are they going to do that when they get to 16, 17, when they want to rebel? No, but when they get a little bit older, they're going to have a great reverence and respect for you because, one, you held a line, and two, you taught them how to actually be a woman. Women don't want to be women today. They find it to be the most offensive thing ever is to be a woman. A woman, for them, is some lady that can do the same thing that men can do in the military. But the only reason women can do what men can do in the military is because they don't make men do what men should do in the military. We all know it's true. It's just true. They have men do pull-ups. They put their knees together now, and they do this kind of thing for pull-ups. And men don't have to do pull-ups that way. Men can do pull-ups this way. But women can't do pull-ups that way, so they have to make everybody do pull-ups like women can do them. This is the culture we're in. And your daughters are going to know that when they get a little bit older. They're not going to understand it when they're yelling at you or when you're having these little fallouts. But by you upholding Christian dignity and helping them to understand what it is, not by preaching, but by helping them develop virtue and showing them the beauty of it and the reason behind it, when they get older, they're going to understand it, and they're going to teach their daughters, and then their daughters are going to go. They're going to go through the same thing with them.